Ah, let's see what kind of damage we can do today. We are clearly working on Spider-Man. I'm just keeping something going because I've been kind of doing pretty good with the superheroes and shit lately. So, the last one that I did was Doctor Doom. I think I did that one off stream. I don't remember, but it turned out pretty good, I think. One of my homeboys by the name of Fax colored it. Sub Rasta Man. Hey Danny-O, how are you guys? Welcome in. I just started the stream. Welcome in. Hopefully you guys are having a good weekend. Let's see what we can get done today. So this is what I worked on. This is what I worked on last week. I think I worked off stream. I don't remember if I did this on stream or not, but I think the last thing I did on stream was fuck, I don't even remember. I think I was working on hands. Oh, I was working on hands. I was drawing hands, which we're still doing. I just really don't. I want to do more alien like hands and stuff like that. This is for Patreon project. So I don't really want to talk that much about, because if you were in Patreon, then you'll probably know. But that's for Patreon. This was just some shit I was just sitting around drawing, and it just kind of came together. My buddy colored it. My buddy started coloring it, and I just kind of added a little bit more to it. I posted in the Discord about a tattoo idea I wanted. When I realized I posted in the wrong place, so I deleted it. What was your tattoo idea? Oh, so in any case, we're gonna be working on Spider-Man, a Spider-Man piece. It's actually 3. The third one's back here. I'm still sketching it. Well, I'm sketching all of them out, but I want to make sure I get the first ones figured out before I do the one in the back. I don't know which ones I'm gonna have them be. I just know I think it's just gonna be the 3 Spider-Men from the movie or whatever. And just kind of go. I don't really care that much. I just wanted to get something. I know I did. I'm like going back through and doing superheroes that I had a really hard time drawing, and this was one of them. Spider-Man's always been kind of like one of them characters that I always kind of struggled with drawing. So when anything that I had a problem with drawing or I struggle with drawing, I like to go back and try to see if I can like do it later. That's kind of a way of testing how far my skills have come, like most people do. It was kind of caught me off guard that my homeboy wanted to color the Doom that we did, because I really get people that really want to color the stuff that I do. I get people that do, but not anybody that I like really think can actually pull off what I would like. So it was cool that he actually like asked to do it. I started a little special with tattooing to get people to come in. It's just been working so far. Running like a deal or no deal. Hey, whatever works, man. Whatever works. I've just been really working on like the people that I have been working on for a while and trying to finish it up. I don't want to take on any new clients, even though I keep getting asked, because if I take on new clients, then I have to commit to it, and I'm not, until I get my spot like all figured out, I don't really want to commit to new clients. But I've been working on a lot of tattoo ideas. that I want to pull off. See, that's like, yeah, that's like the, yeah, that's. I mean, I'm sorry to hear that. That's like that's gonna be a hard one to do, like sentimental tattoos like that. Because you got a lot of things that you know about your dad that other people don't know. Plus, a lot of tattoo artists genuinely just want to kind of be guided with that because it's really hard to like choose something like for someone else's, like, you know what I mean? Just whatever you do, what I would advise is whatever you do, don't involve pictures of him. Like pictures or symbols of like the military or whatever would be cool, but no pictures of him because it like it could cause like trauma. At least that's what we advise, but you know, ultimately it is your idea at the end of the day. Have you found an artist to do it? Or are you going to design it yourself and then just bring it to an artist? Which either one is fine. Just make sure whoever you get to do it, you check their portfolio. Like, don't just reach out to a tattoo person because you know they tattoo. Make sure they tattoo the way you like. And if that person doesn't respond, like, take your time on the research. You know what I mean? Like, don't rush into it because I know a lot of people that do that shit and they regret it. Do not just rush into getting it. I mean, which I'm pretty sure you already know that, you know. But man, you have no idea how many people I've seen just go rush in and get tattoos that could have been so much better. That's kind of the reason why I haven't really been like itching to start taking on new clients, because I got to wrap my brain around the fact that I know people are going to want stuff that I don't necessarily care to do, but I know that what I'm going to probably end up doing is like drawing tattoo ideas and then like showing people what I actually want to do rather than being like, hey guys, who wants a tattoo? I'm just going to draw tattoos and be like, is anybody interested in getting something like this? It typically works better just simply because you get to do what you want to do and they get something that they want at the same time. Do I know any good ones in Jacksonville, Florida? Most tattoo artists don't know other tattoo artists in other states and stuff. I know that's like a thing that people don't know, but like we like tattoo artists are very tight knit. We don't necessarily know like all the famous ones, except for the ones that are like on TV. But it's not really like For the most part, you know of them because they're on TV, but you don't really. I've met a couple tattoo artists that are famous, but I don't. I make it a purpose to not involve myself with tattoo people, just simply because the tattoo lifestyle is very young focused, I guess you could say. So I don't really. My tattoo, my golden age of tattooing is long past. So now I'm just kind of like I'm in the era of training the next generation, trying to get my son to do it. But nah, I don't really know anybody in Florida, unfortunately. Yeah, a lot of people do the gumball machine random tattoo stuff. That's simply for people that I'm not going to take it away from any tattoo artist because every tattoo artist has their purpose, right? Some tattoo artists are just, or some people are just tattooists. They like to tattoo. They're very good at reproducing, which is good because we need people that can reproduce. And then there are people that can create. Like you very rarely see me drawing tattoos, even though I draw tattoos a lot. But I don't like to draw and publicly display myself drawing tattoos because I have very wild ideas and I work better when I'm not like, I don't know, like showboating, I guess. That's why I very rarely draw tattoos on stream because I'm like, it's more of a, I want to do these things and my tattoo ideas are very grandiose. And I'm always like, I know this is a lot, but if I could get someone to just get one of these, like that's my whole thing. It's like, I know this is like over the top, but if I can get someone to just get one of these, I mean, you could easily get people to get them, but like, because if you give away tattoos, you get an army of people lining up, but I don't want to give away, a tattoo. I want someone to sign up for it, which is a lot of money, a lot of pain, stuff like that. You got to look out for that kind of shit. But yeah, the random tattoo machine, the random tattoos in the gumball machine is more or less like a thing to get people to come into the shop. That's it. And to get the less skilled artists to get work, I'm not necessarily against, because in order to get people trained up, you got to do work. And if people don't trust you enough to let you do work, how are you going to get trained up? It's just, I hate it when I see like really skilled tattoo artists, like kind of like, you know what I mean? I don't like the easy money stuff. I feel like if you're good, like, draw to your potential. But it ain't got nothing to do with me, so I don't care. But I've seen plenty of shops with the gumball machine thing. I don't know. I was asking my homeboy, who has his own shop, like, how he felt about tattooing. He was the guy that colored the Doom for me, the guy that colored this. So he's a graffiti artist and he does tattooing, right? He's a graffiti artist and he does tattooing. But the thing that really trips me out is that he is like really good at both, but he doesn't draw women that well. But he draws all of this stuff like exceptionally well. Like, I mean, like, the dude he has that skill, you know what I mean? He has that. He's a great tattoo artist, but he can't really draw women that well. It's just one of them things that he just kind of like struggles with drawing. But he taught me a lot about the stuff that I didn't know about tattooing when I first started. I worked in the shop with him. I never had a mentor. Like I never was trained. I just kind of like worked in the shop and picked up by watching. But, at times I wish I did. I when I was younger, I didn't really want one, just simply because, I didn't really want somebody telling me what to do. And of course, you heard all the nightmares about doing people's laundry and all that stuff. Um, and you get spooked by that kind of shit. Even though now I'm like, yo, you need an apprenticeship. You don't need that kind of apprenticeship, but everybody should have an apprenticeship. You know what I mean? There's things that you learn from an apprenticeship that you damn sure can't learn by yourself. But you can't tell people that, because you tell somebody they can't learn something by themselves, and it's like, hold my beer. And it's not a situation where it's like you need to prove it. It's more or less like, hey, I'm recommending you don't do that. It isn't good for you, your career, or any of that shit. If you have the opportunity to get and learn tattooing from somebody, do it. Someone you trust. Don't just learn from anybody, because anybody can't teach you, even though everybody thinks they can teach you. Some motherfuckers just shouldn't be teaching. Yep. The old, I feel you, man, with the fucking permits and stuff. Yep. That's why a lot of tattoo artists don't travel. Fucking permits. Now you get to see the struggle with becoming like a well-rounded tattoo artist. But what you don't know, Rasta, is when you stop and you just start working on the art and they see the art, people will make it so you learn. That's when they start paying for your trips and stuff like that, because they see the potential. Like, if they don't really see the potential, they don't really give a shit. They don't give two shits if you learn or not. They're like, whatever, man. It's fucking another guy that wants to tattoo, whatever. But when they see the potential, everybody wants you to come and visit their shop. Everybody wants to see what you can do. And that's when you have to choose, whether or not you want to deal with those people. Just remember, you're going to see and experience a lot of things as you grow as a tattoo artist. Just remember what you saw, and remember who helped you along the way, and make sure you give back. And don't think that you have to teach everybody. That's a very important thing. Is like, everybody isn't meant to be a tattoo artist. Some people just don't get it. You don't want to be responsible for releasing a renegade along the world, which is gonna happen, but hey man, it bees that way. What, you don't bring your ID when you go places? You don't take your ID, Rasta? I heard one of my friends at work say that people be taking pictures of their ID when they go in places, and I'm like, that is just weird to me. Said, like, one of my homeboys said one of his cousins like went on a trip and didn't bring his ID, and he was like, I'm gonna just take a picture. I'm like, the way these motherfuckers be tripping about people getting on planes and stuff, that ain't no way in the world I'm gonna take that kind of risk. Well, in tattooing, a lot of people get threatened by your talent. Like that's something that you learn while you're doing tattooing is like people are very envious in tattooing. Like and if they know that you're good, a lot of times they don't want to help you or they don't want you around what they're doing. If they feel like you can take their clients. Even if you're not even thinking about that, a lot of people are just kind of like, yo, like, it's what's weird is when you go to conventions and you go to like booths and stuff. People are very nice until they find out you're a tattoo artist, and then they're kind of like, I don't really want that guy around here because it's like they feel like you can steal their clients. And I've never really felt that way because I feel like if I'm not good enough to keep my clients, then I need to level up. Yeah, that sucks, Rasta. But them's the breaks. Them's the tattoo breaks. You're going to experience a lot more of that stuff. That is not an isolated incident. It is just, it is literally just the way tattooing is. And a lot of times, if you're not from their state, they don't give a shit about you. Especially if you go to somewhere like Hawaii or something like that, they could give two fucks less. And they will let you know it. Like, they don't really care. I went to a convention in Hawaii a long time ago, and they didn't tell everybody that they needed to get their license to tattoo. So all these people came from out of state to go to the Hawaiian tattoo show and couldn't tattoo because they had to go and get their permits, and like they had everybody signing up to take the test, and it was all of this bullshit that they could have told you ahead of time, but they didn't. But it's like one of them things. Like, then you go to a place like Washington, and it's like pay money, get a tattoo license. That's it. You ain't got to jump through no hoops or nothing. Pay money, get license. It's different. So it's different everywhere. It's literally just how people receive tattooing when you go somewhere else, which kind of sucks, but realistically, that's why I'm always like, just work on your art, get really good at your art skills and stuff like that, and the rest will work itself out. Because when people want you to come, they take care of all that shit for you. They make sure that you have an appointment when you get there. Like, they make sure everything is done for you because they want you to be there, especially if it's a convention. If it's a convention, they get motherfuckers to bring your shit to you so that you can do it. Or they'll have it sent to you wherever state you live at so you can get it done before you come out. Like, it's different. They treat you very, very different when you're good. How did the clientele look out there, though? I mean, I know you didn't get the tattoo, but did you get to at least see what the client base was like? Like as far as like the people you would be working on and stuff like that? Did you get to experience any of the culture type of shit people want? If so, it's a good thing because now you can come prepared. I envy you because I don't like traveling, and I will not travel for tattooing. Like, I feel like When I'm at the level that I'm supposed to be at, people will come to see me. So I'm not making any effort to travel anywhere anymore. Like I went to the places that I wanted to go to, and I realized that traveling ain't that cool to me. I really don't care for traveling too much. I don't like to feel lost when I'm in other places. And I don't like to be in strange places. It was and the funny thing is I couldn't even say it was like a cool experience. It was just an experience. Because I never really felt comfortable enough to like just kind of enjoy myself. I was just kind of like, I'm in this strange place. So what it always felt like, it just kept feeling like I'm in this strange place. That's why I don't really go places like for tattooing. Plus, the other thing that I learned is that if people know you won't travel, they will make arrangements to travel to you. If they know you'll travel, they aren't going to make any travel arrangements. They're going to be like, come to me. And I ain't doing that shit. Well, for the right amount of money, I probably would, but. And that's what you want. You want people that want big detailed stuff, because the people that want big or detailed, they serious. And if you nail it, but the thing is the other thing is like, don't take on anything you can't handle. And if you've never done a big tattoo, like seriously, work your way into it. It is a lot of fucking work, and a lot of tattoo artists, like my son, bite off more than they can chew. Do not get sucked into because a lot of people get, that arrogance that they can do anything and end up fucking somebody's fucking shit up. And tattooing is like used car salesman. You never hear about any of the good ones. You only hear about the bad ones. Well, at least you like traveling. I mean, shit, that's good. That'll help you a lot. It didn't really help me because I didn't like traveling. And being a tattoo artist and you don't like traveling, that's not good. That's definitely not good. I hated it. My bosses they would do convention circuits. And convention circuits gets you more clients because, you start doing the convention circuits, people will come to your shop, from out of town. But I was like, and I was toward the end of my run at the shop that pretty much taught me everything. I was up there with the top people in the shop, but I just didn't like to travel and do shit like that, and like it kind of left a bad taste in the owner's mouth because they needed people. Some other people couldn't go, and he didn't really necessarily want to go by himself all the time. But I was like, bro, I don't want to do that. It was like I didn't like to. And the crazy thing was they were paying for it. They were paying for everything. I just didn't find it something I was interested in doing. Even though if you're a tattoo artist, you have to be nomadic. Like you have to be. You can't just not travel. I got to look up uh, the designs on all these different Spider-Man because I don't really. I know that one with the really big. I got to look at all three of the ones that were in the movie. I think they all um, have different spiders. The main one has that little one that looks like a roach, and then they have the one with the bigger spider. I don't think I'm gonna do black suit Spider-Man, but who knows? I think I want it to kind of be like the Spider-Man from the Marvel movie, the three from the different universes kind of theme. How's you guys this weekend been going? Good, I hope. I celebrated my last child turning 18. So I officially have all adult children. Which I don't know about you guys, but that is a celebration for men. It is a different feeling. It's a good feeling when, all your kids are grown and they're not in trouble or anything like that, but also that you ain't got to worry about them no more. You gonna always worry, but you know what I mean. It ain't the same kind of worry. It's really good to be able to tell your sons, you're a man now. Grow your ass up. It's a good feeling. Oh yeah, they do that. You're a man now. welcome to adulthood. Told my son, he turned 18 yesterday. I told him, I said, welcome to the life that you didn't think you would have to experience. So you're gonna find out just how many people could give two shits less about what you go through. I was like, but this is when family becomes the most important. When do you plan on going out again, Rasta? And have you been working on your portfolio? Because now you're traveling. And if you're traveling and you haven't been working on your portfolio, stop it. You definitely cannot be rolling into other towns without your own work. Well, she's doing good. Sorry to hear that. My life has been rather undramatic, at least for now. Knock on wood. But I noticed that a lot of the problems that I have are not my problems. A lot of my problems and that I have to deal with are, well, my children or other family members. I don't have specific problems of my own because I don't do anything. Like, I literally make it a purpose to try to do as little as possible outside of my house. And my brothers and everybody think it's so weird, but I'm like, dude, I don't need to. I don't understand how people have to be out. You know what I mean? I don't like being like social. Like, the most social I get is like Twitch, you know, and work. You know, tattooing gives you a lot of social, but I also have a job. So I get a lot of social interaction with people, but all that does is make me not want to go and interact with people. Like, you just realize just how I was having a conversation at work with my friends, and I'm always like about knowledge. And I'm trying to explain to them how a 9-to-5 will never get you rich. And these motherfuckers were literally arguing with me about how I was wrong. And I'm like, bro, there's never been anybody that's gotten rich from working a job. Like, it just doesn't happen. You know, like an employee, you end up having to become something greater. But it's just crazy how some people just settle in their ways, and that's what they believe. It's like, that's why a lot of people are still like complaining about not being able to pay bills and shit like that. Because they don't really get that you're not gonna, if you're working a job, just working a job, and you have nothing else going on, you will be paying bills forever. It is designed for you to never make money. Gotta learn how to balance that shit. Like I have a day job, but I also do like what I love, and then I also have passive income. And it took me forever to really understand the importance of fucking passive income, but that shit is important as hell, especially if you have kids. That extra $100, $200 or whatever that comes from whatever little side things that you're doing means so much when you have children, or when you're the head of the household and you're paying bills, because that shit just come nowhere and you're like, oh, I forgot about that. Whoo, now I can pay this bill. People don't think about it. How about aggressive income? Aggressive income is like a business. Like, that's aggressive income. A lot of people don't know how to make aggressive income, other than like selling drugs and shit like that. That you generally don't want to. People gonna do what they gonna do, but you generally don't want to like take your like life risks to make money. You gotta take risks, but like not, you know what I mean? But shit, people gonna do them. But whatever you do, don't ever think that working a regular job is gonna get you out of your slump. Like ski mask, gun, yeah. Well, I mean, the same thing. you stand in a better chance of just selling drugs. If somebody was like, yeah, I'm thinking about robbing a place, I'd be like, yeah, you should probably just sell some drugs. If you're gonna do something bad, you robbery. Yeah, I mean, granted, I know you're joking. You know what I mean? But that's like you'll find out real quick if that's gonna work out. The feds can listen. I don't do nothing bad. like you only worry about the feds listening when you do bad shit. I do nothing bad, so the feds can listen. All of my money is legal. Well, the dumb thing is, well, like I always say, the main reason why people that rob banks and shit like that don't get away with it is because they didn't have money before that. So the thing that you find out the most, and that I found out about the people that I work with, is that because they never had money, what do they do when they get money? You spend it. Like you go and you buy shit you don't need. You go and you do shit you don't need to do. That's generally what you do when you get money. And if you've never had money and you get money, it's like, I got money, time to ball out. And it's like, now you're back to where you were before with you know what I'm saying, with no leg to stand on, where when you had that money, you could have done more with it, or at least secured a way to grow it. When you have, this is something that I keep trying to teach my sons that I don't think they will ever learn, is when you're stacking money, or you live in paycheck to paycheck and you're trying to make money. The money you make is not supposed to go to celebration. Like, you celebrate when you start making more money than you know what to do with. And it's not like millions. You know what I mean? You don't need millions to have more money than you know what to do with. If you have more money than you pay bills, you have more money than you know what to do with. If you have 10 grand in the bank for emergencies, you have more money than you know what to do with. This is when you start celebrating. You don't celebrate with the money you have in the bank, though. You know what I mean? You allot yourself a little bit of money to do that. You also have to allot yourself money to play with and stuff like that. That's stupid. Yeah. The Snoop Dogg at the Olympic stuff, I just kind of like, them rich people. I find myself not interested in a lot of shit rich people do these days. Like, it's crazy that we live in a day and age where Snoop Dogg is running the torch. But hey, man, shit, it's what it is. You never know, that probably sparked somebody's dream. There's some little kid out there that seen that and was like, I wanna be that someday. But most people have a hobby that they'll never pursue. Most people have something that they'd rather do that they will never do. Like, because they get caught up in this notion that you have to do these certain things. And nobody seems to want to tell you that you don't have to do these things, or you can do something better. A lot of people are just kind of stuck in what they're doing. So it's like, shit, I don't have time to, you know what I mean? And I'm always telling the guys at work, like, yo, like, because these motherfuckers have like bill problems. One of the guys at my job is having another baby. He has 3 kids. This is gonna be his 3rd kid, but he's the breadwinner. And I'm like, stop having kids, or do something that you want to do right now, because once these kids start getting of age where they all got to go to school and stuff like that, you're not gonna really have a lot of time to party and shit like that. His mentality is, I need to get all that out of the way before the kids come, because, and I'm like, you're wasting the time that you have to get your shit together. And I was like, what do you like to do in your spare time? And he was like, Legos. And I'm like, well, like, I'm always on him about doing shit that he wants, like that they want to do, because nobody ever wants to, like, if you have a hobby, why don't you ever try to turn your hobby into money? It just so happens that my hobby is art. So luckily I found a community of people that actually help me nurture my stuff, because I've been drawing for years before I found Twitch. But the level, let me show you. So this was me when I first started doing digital. I mean, like, when I really, really first started learning how to do color and stuff. Just to give you a general idea, I would draw on regular paper and then color it. I didn't know how to draw digitally, didn't want to know how to draw digitally. Traditional was the way, blah, 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 all that stuff. You know, and this is me now. Granted, this is superheroes, and there's so many ways that this could have been better, right? But from where I was to from where I was to where I am now, just because I knew artists, and we learned off of each other. It changed my entire idea, like just drawing Spider-Man or drawing hands. I drew shit so much worse when I was just starting out, and I had been drawing traditionally for years. But traditional is a different beast because you are working with bigger restrictions, stuff like that, you know, which helps you, but it also hinders you. So where I'm at now and what I do now, you know, versus what I used to do, like even stuff like this, like as insignificant as it is to me, because I'm like, it's fucking Spider-Man. Who fucking can't draw Spider-Man? There's a million people that can draw Spider-Man. But coming from a person that never thought that they would ever be able to do anything on this level, it feels, the feeling is different. And a lot of people will never actually feel this because they are too busy working their day jobs and being what they think being their version of like a breadwinner or whatever, and never really true happiness. Then something tragic happens, and I don't mean tragic like someone dying, like they might get a divorce or whatever, and they feel like they've wasted their life because they never really did the things that they wanted to do, no matter what it is. It could be a professional sleeper, but the whole point is you never pursued anything that you wanted to do. You put everything on the back burner for someone else or something else. And it always trips me out that people don't ever try to do more. Well, that's the thing is, everybody I know has a plan, but that's the thing is, you just like to make plans, and it's common. I was the same way. This is why I'm always like whining about it, because I'm like, if I say I'm gonna do something, my mentality now is, if I'm not gonna do it right then or at least the next day, why am I even talking about it? I'm not gonna plan to make plans, or the time comes to execute the plan. It's like, well, the sky isn't blue enough today, or it's raining, or you know, this happened in the world, and I'm not in, like, no, either you do it or you don't. You don't have time to waste. You can't expect to be in the situation you're in for the rest of your life, because shit can change overnight. Like all these little things that you've been told that you just technically just don't listen to until it's too late. Right? And then you kick yourself for not ever actually doing it or whatever, you know, like, and that's always like, I spent so many years not listening that now that I'm listening, I get angry at the fact I didn't listen a long time ago. Because I was told years ago to do tattooing, and I was like, you know, fucking tattooing is stupid, blah, 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 blah. Hated tattooing. Not really hated it, but it was so out of my imagination or my scope of what I wanted to do that I just never thought about it. And then it took 9/11 to happen for me to actually realize that, holy shit, I could lose my job. And if I lose my job, we are going to be homeless, because I am not going to just be able to walk into another job and get a job. Like, I was a manager in a multi-billion-dollar hotel. Like, I'm not going to be able to walk into another hotel and get a management job. It took me 10 years to get in that position from the bottom up. You know, and yeah, on your resume, but look, listen, let me tell you something about the whole resume thing. It's not in Las Vegas, it's not what you know, it's who you know. You can have a degree and the best resume in the world, But you hear rumors about, oh, well, they hired their, niece. That's true. Like, there's more likely a chance if you get in a job, if you know the owner or know somebody in the company, than you actually like just being qualified for the job. But a lot of people don't necessarily understand that, Plus, a job, again, it's just a job. I learned that shit earlier on when I wanted to do things, and it was like, or the other thing that you get is you get people that don't think that they're worth more than they're worth. You know what I mean? What I mean by that is if you're working for $13 an hour and you get fired from your job, you're going to go and automatically look for another job that pays $13 an hour. And I always wonder why people do that. Instead of going to look for a job that pays more, they go and look for a job that pays the same because they don't feel like they can make more than that. Not knowing that the guy that's getting paid $15 an hour or $28 an hour or $40 an hour just applied. And then you find out later that they lied on their application. Because that's what people do. But you don't think that that would work. Or you don't think that getting hired at a job and not knowing what to do is possible. And it's like they'll train you. So why aren't you lying to get the job knowing that they'll train you? There are so many, because like even though you might know things, say you get a job where you know things, they still train you to do what they do because it's not the same thing. You just know things. But they'll train you to do what they want you to do and you get the money, but you never actually apply for it. Yeah, like a college degree, from being a manager, I can tell you that a college degree just lets people know that you can perform tasks, because it lets the employer know that you went to a school and you did what you were supposed to do for a set amount of time, and you're not going to fuck up their business. It does nothing else. Like, it doesn't guarantee anything else, because you'll have people with a college degree that are worth their weight in gold, but they won't hire them because they're worth their weight in gold, and they'll hire somebody else that's new to the industry that they can pretty much bend it to do what they want, because they're doing shit that a new person might want to do, or a person degree might want to do right, and these people are being shady. The people that I used to work for, when I was doing the melting the gold and silver and shit, that was the thing, was that these people had a lot of shady dealings, so they didn't want to get somebody in there that wanted to do their job right. They wanted to get somebody in there that would listen. And a person that cares about their job isn't going to just sit around and watch shit go bad, because they're, of course, they're trying to have a job, not knowing that that is the job. Versus a person that you can just grab off the street, teach them what you want them to know, tell them to keep their head down and do their job, or else, and they'll do it. See, me, I'm like, I know when I go work at a day job that is literally just a job. I'm not there this is not going to be my life. I'm just here to make some money to do the thing that I want to do. And then when it pisses me off, I get out, because I know that there's always another job. People don't think like that. It's the same thing with, like, okay, so like, you're an artist or you like art. Why aren't you doing your art shit? What's the reason why you aren't doing your art shit? And that's it. You got to ask yourself, and the people, oh, I don't have time, I got kids, or whatever dumb shit. I don't know what to do. Like, that was me. Same shit. Until I found people to tell me, like, hey, you can do this. Sup, Beard? Long time no see. Till you find someone that actually understands you, and that you can, like, kind of connect with and understands what you're doing, or been through shit that you're gonna probably go through it, and it's different. Then it just falls on you. Because once you get to that situation, Now you got to ask yourself why you're not doing it, because now it's not them holding you back, it's you holding you back. A lot of people like to be in a situation where it's them, it's like them holding themselves back, because it's easy for them to say, I can't do it because of this. You know what I mean? When yet that's quite naturally, yeah, you can do it. It's like me learning how to do digital. I didn't want to do digital because I was afraid I was going to be bad in front of everybody else. But of course, I'm not going to fucking tell people that. I would not tell somebody that I'm going to be bad in front of everybody else. So that's why I didn't want to do it. You just lie and you say that it's not for you, or you don't need to do it, or whatever. Like traditional's better or whatever. It was just I couldn't do it. And it was because I was uncomfortable. I had to get comfortable. And then when I got comfortable, I just finished making a breakfast sandwich at what time of night? That's just chaos. Who the hell is Tumba? I don't know who that is. Oh, that's a game, right? Tumba is a game, right? PS1 game. I don't think I ever played that. I believe I seen it somewhere, the name somewhere, which is why I don't like. I think it was on my Instagram or something. But I definitely don't think I've ever played it. What's it about? Oh yeah, I remember this game. Yeah, I definitely never played this. Yeah, I remember seeing this when I was a kid, or well, younger, and I never played. They had another version before this one. Yeah, I never played this. I'm always like, I wonder when the last time someone actually just sat down and asked themselves, why am I doing this? Why? I asked them, the thing I was getting to is I was asking the guys at my job, what would you do if this place just suddenly closed down? Like, what would you do? And a lot of them would just panic. You know what I mean? Like they don't really have any like contingency plan if our job was to go away. A lot of them don't have money in the bank. You know what I mean? And the funny thing is I remember when I was that age, it was the same shit. I didn't have no money in the bank. I didn't know what I would do if I lost my job, but I wasn't thinking I was going to lose my job, because I was like, it's a job. And if I come to work every day, it'll be there. You never think that the job is going to close down and stuff like that, especially if you work for like a casino. Yeah, I didn't watch Squid Game 1. I wasn't on the Squid Game craze. I saw the premise of it, and everybody was like, it's like Hunger Games. And I just wasn't really, I never really watched it. Not that I'm like better than Squid Game. I just never watched. I just never got around to watching it. You know what I did go watch though? Deadpool Wolverine. And I wholeheartedly endorse it. I also endorse a lot of the moves that they're making in the MCU. I think we might be able to salvage this poor thing. Hence why I drew Doctor Doom, because I was like, oh man, Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom. Man, let him play fucking what is it? What the fuck is it? Invincible Iron Man or whatever it was called? Yeah, it was fucking phenomenal. I thought it was incredibly funny. Well, funny in a good way. It was funny in a very good way. I enjoyed it. I seen it twice, so that I can catch all the things I did. Because the first time you watch it, you got to just watch it, and then I went back to catch all the Easter eggs and stuff like that. And then, ironically, funny enough, someone posted it on YouTube, and yeah. I hope it's. I don't know who they. I think they're gonna. I think what they're going to do with that is they're going to make him Robert Downey Jr. or he's gonna be Tony Stark from a different universe, because they're doing a whole multiverse thing. So people will know him as Tony Stark, but he'll be like, my name is Tony Stark. I'm Victor Von Doom. Since Doctor Doom always wears a mask, you know what I mean? Like people will definitively get used to him being like, like instead of looking at him like Tony Stark in a Doom outfit. But I don't think they're gonna do. I don't think they're gonna do what is. I think it was like a Spectacular Iron Man, or I don't know what the fuck the series was called, but it was basically Iron Man suit, but Doctor Doom. Because Doctor Doom, in one of the stories in the timeline, his face got repaired and he became a good guy, and he was bent on like trying to make everybody believe he had reformed or whatever. And then Iron Man got put in a coma, Tony Stark, and he made an Iron Man suit. And that was like the timeline for that Iron Man, I hope they do that. But there's so much like multiverse shit that it's so confusing. The multiversal stuff is very, very confusing. But I am kind of happy with the way things are going in the MCU. For now. But if you haven't went to go see Deadpool, go see Deadpool. Of course, none of my friends at my job watch stuff like that other than the people in the office. So I geek out with the office people, and my friends are always looking at me like I'm a kid, and I'm like, bro, I like stuff like that. Like, y'all are into football and all that, which I like football. You know what I mean? But I'm like, don't get mad at me because I like nerd shit. Like they be looking at me like, well, I be nerding out, but I'm like, shit. It's good to be able to talk to people about stuff you're interested in, especially when you're surrounded by people that think that adults don't do that. That's definitely all the guys that work at my job. They're those guys that are too busy trying to be the most adult that they can adult be. But you didn't miss much. We were just talking about nerd shit. Talking about how the people at my job don't watch like Iron Man and or any of them kind of like MCU movies and stuff like that, except for the people in the office. So I nerd out with the people in the office, but all the people that I work with like look at me weird because I'm like always nerding out with the people in the office. But I'm like, I like that shit. That's my shit. Just like they like, because they're, football season's coming and everybody's trash talking and getting ready to, do the football thing. But I watch football, you know what I mean? But I'm like, oh shit, I like superhero movies and stuff. I know one thing I'm not playing this year, fucking Madden. Until Madden makes a definitive change to their graphical scheme and stuff, I will never play Madden again. Not on my own reconnaissances. Yeah, but that's the thing is like when we're at work, like my brother's a grease monkey. He loves cars, right? And he does the same shit. He be nerding out about cars, and I'm like looking at him like, bro, I don't fucking with cars, man. I don't really know nothing about no fucking cars. But he loves cars. But it's like, yo, cool, like whatever. I don't even like driving. But the minute I start talking about like comic books and shit, like they be everybody in the warehouse be looking at me like. But again, the people in the office they nerd out, so like we nerd out together because I'm like, shit, I'm nerding. If they're nerding, I'm nerding. And we were having our weekly meeting, and one of the guys were like, hey, if you guys haven't went and seen Iron Man, like go see it. And I'm like, or not Iron Man, Deadpool. Go see it. And I was like, I saw it twice, and we just started nerding out in the meeting. But I mean, it's like man, being around the super adult people is boring because all they do is talk about their problems, and then like football season is coming, it's just trash talk, right? Which is natural, right? But these motherfuckers, I hate it when people trash talk and they get serious. Like they can't trash talk and just be cool. They got to get angry. You know what I noticed though? Drawing Spider-Man is like extremely relaxing. Even though it's not a very complicated draw, it's like really relaxing. Oh, and we started our every year we do this thing. Well, me and one other guy at the job, we do this thing where we have like a weight loss challenge. We bet each other $100 that we can't who can lose the most weight in a month. I have consistently lost. And I think the reason why I constantly keep losing is because it's very hard to lose weight when you can buy whatever you want. It was easier for me to lose weight when I was actually going to the gym and I couldn't buy whatever I wanted because, of course, I had to save my money for my children and stuff like that. But being able to eat and buy whatever you want is, of course, a good thing. But when you're losing weight, a lot of times you don't want to sacrifice shit. Like, I'm over trying to buy groceries because I buy my groceries every week for, what I'm going to be eating for lunch at work and stuff like that. And I find myself not wanting to not buy things that I know is going to be I'm not trying to go on a diet. I'm just trying to eat a different way. And trying to buy things that I know that would just be fuel. Get your mind in that food is fuel type thing, not eat so much sugar, stuff like that. Only eat when you're hungry and not just eating when you're bored, which is why I'm on stream right now, because I figure if I'm busy drawing, I'm never hungry. So when I'm off work, I have to be busy doing something. Otherwise, I'll want to eat. So that's kind of my strat. It's I'm gonna try to keep myself busy, and because I already have my little Patreon task that I'm working on, it should be okay. But I also need other things to keep me busy. I've been trying my hardest to do the whole quality prints thing. That's where all the superhero drawings have come from, because I owe my boy Kitty a lot of quality prints. I've been trying to perfect how I'm going to do my prints, because I don't want to sell prints, but I want to make quality prints just so I know how to make quality prints when I want to make, quality prints. And I feel like the level of art is coming together, but I need to have the presentation stuff, which means I need to start finding connections to get certain things like the packing and all of that stuff. Because I'll be making prints and sending them out and stuff, but I want it to be a presentation, come in a nice box, kind of like what Pezarama sent to me, where he drew on the box, and there were stickers and just a lot of stuff so when people get it, it feels authentic. Plus, speaking of authentic, I want to get authentication stickers so that you can know just how many. I want your shit to feel special, because I ain't gonna be doing it for anybody and everybody. This is literally gonna be for specific people. So if you're gonna do it just for specific people, you have to make it feel special. Otherwise, what's the point? Hence why I'm instead of drawing just one Spider-Man, I drew 3, because I'm I can draw 3 Spider-Man. I've drawn hundreds of Spider-Man. If I'm gonna do a Spider-Man print or whatever, why not do it the right way? This could very well be the last time I draw Spider-Man. So I need to be able to look back and be hey, I did a pretty good job. I did a pretty okay job with that Spider-Man. At least that's how I feel about it. We'll see. I'm getting pretty good with my lighting, with my shading, my light shading, shading showing lighting and stuff like that. I need to do shading emphasizing dark, because that's tricky for me. What I mean is a person in the dark with light, with an intense light flashing on them. Instead of shining light from high, have light coming like from below, shit like that. I call it trick or treat, like Halloween lighting. Like little shit like that. All right, Dan, thanks for stopping in. You have a good night. You know, I haven't seen ads on Twitch in forever because I do turbo. I always recommend people to do turbo. It's a very, very good investment. So the third one is back here. I don't necessarily yet know what I want that one to do. But there's a third one in the back. I wasn't even aware you were behind on your bills. Well, that's good shit. That's really good. That means you're going to start having extra money to do, well, extra stuff. Fun stuff. Not bill paying all the time, which kind of blows. I just sent my present. I just sent a present to my last adult child. He turned 18. I gave him the speech, gave him the money, and it felt good. Now I have nothing but adult children. So like I said, you're always gonna worry about your children, but it's a different kind of worry when they're grown, especially when it's boys. When you have like adult boy children, it's very easy for you to be like, well, you're a man. Like, get your shit together. Can't really do that with your daughter. God, I wish I could do that with my daughter, but can't do that with your daughter. The moms can, because moms be cold like that, but I can't, you know. See, and that's what I was talking about earlier. It's like, dude, hopefully when you're finally caught back up, you start prepping yourself for like your life job and like career, you know, or like whatever's going to put you in a situation where you can make passive income. Because I don't like, the last time I fell behind bills, I swore that when I got back ahead, never again, because it wasn't my fault. And I was like, I'm never going to be in a situation where I allow myself or anybody else to get me behind on bills. And I was like, I'm never going to be in a position again where bills rule my life. Like, oh, shit is the fucking worst, man. I feel for you. I'm glad you're finally getting your shit back on track. It is the fucking worst. You just got that feeling that, like, just why bother? Like, oh. Yeah, oh, I get it. You got to do it. Well, that would fucking suck if you don't have a place to live. Let's just not even think about that. But this is a definite time to reevaluate your next steps. Like once you're back on track. All right, I need to look at what these costumes look like so I can actually get the fucking costume right. I'm drawing these guys and like I haven't put none of the symbols on their chest or whatever because I haven't really decided which costume is going to be which, and it's going to help me decide what the background one is going to be. Because right now I have two, but the third one I'm like it's just there, and I need to actually figure out what he's going to look like, and then I need to draw him and then erase the parts that's behind this guy so I can flatten the image and make it all one. And then I got to go back and then fucking draw webs. I'm supposed to draw. I got to draw the webs in this hand, and I got to draw the webs on his hand. I'm on the fence on whether or not I want, which is why I don't really want to draw all this in, because if I'm going to draw his webs, it's going to go over. It's going to go over parts of his leg, and I'm going to end up erasing shit. Aren't the taxes that you pay on the house for the land that you live on? The land, unless you own the land, the house is not really, you own the house that's on the land. You don't own the land. It's, you know, I mean, if that's what you're talking about. Because I know that, like, a lot of people keep forgetting, like, you know, like, yeah, if you buy the house, eventually you'll own the house, but you'll have to pay property taxes forever because you don't own the land. And if they, for some reason, need to use the land for something, they will buy your house. They have the option to buy out your house and If you know it's good for you, you will sell it, because otherwise they can just boot you out unless you own the land. And then the only way they can get the land is if it's public domain or some shit like that, which basically means that you never really truly can't own anything, because the government can take it from you whenever they want to use it for whatever they need. Doesn't mean you shouldn't, like, strive for shit, but still. Yeah, public domain, eminent domain. There you go, eminent domain. Yeah. But that's like, they can't just take it because they want it to. Well, yeah, they can, but you know what I mean? Like, it has to be eminent domain. Or loopholes. Shit, the way the world is now, all it takes is for someone to go swatting your shit and they own it. It's like, it discourages you from wanting to own shit. Not to mention the fact that it's fucking mortgage is high and all that. The only thing that's good about owning rather than renting is that you can't get booted out because the person wants to sell their shit. Yeah, you pay for the house and you own the house. You don't own the land, which is fucking And a lot of these people that buy houses in these communities, these housing developments and whatever, you're like, yeah, you own the house, the wood, but not the land, which essentially means you don't own shit. That's why smart people will buy land and then build their house on the land. And you make sure you pick a place where, that kind of shit does, No, HOA is different. HOA is like a housing government, basically. You choose people to basically keep your neighborhoods and shit up to par, and you pay them to do it. Well, you don't choose them; it's a committee that chooses the HOA. Because I'm in an HOA and I fucking hate it. Like, it's like whatever. It has a purpose, but it's like whatever. You know what I mean? Like, an HOA is good for people that like to sell their homes, and it's definitely good for like real estate investors. It's definitely not good for someone that like wants to just like buy a home and like it be their forever home, because now you're slave to a fucking landlord, basically. Someone to tell you what you need to do, and then you got all these other expenses that pop up because you got to get fucking if you don't want to do landscaping, you got to do landscaping, so that's another fucking bill, or you get fined. It's just a bunch of shit for fining. So it's a racket. My next house will be my forever home. I plan on just getting something that's big enough for me, and like most tattoo artists, when they retire, what we do is we get a private studio. Like, well, basically, you have a freaking studio in your house, and you can get it licensed and all that, and you just tattoo out of your home your either your client, like clients you're currently working on, or you take on clients that are recommended by current clients, as to not have to deal with like the bullshit you would deal with in the shop and all that stuff. I was supposed to be looking up outfits. All right, here we go. Here we go. So we're gonna keep this one simple, just because it's up front, and I don't really feel like drawing no giant. Well, I don't know. Do I want to do this one? All right, let's do this one first. If I'm looking at this correctly. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm just BSing around now. I should make this brush a little thinner. I never really thought about how making a complicated suit could be such a pain in the ass until you start thinking about the fact that you got to color this thing. Because, before when I would just draw stuff, I didn't care because I'm like, I ain't coloring this, whatever. But now you think about it because you're like, I might actually color this, or somebody else might actually have to color it. And you start thinking about all the shit because I love changing what something looks like normally. Like, like if I don't like this suit, I would just mix two suits together that I thought looked cool. Just so I can get the little nuances that I didn't like out of the way. But then you go and you color, and then you realize that those small changes just made everything that much more difficult to draw. Man, it's craziest shit ever. So now I think about that kind of stuff when I think about changing a costume. Like, yeah, of course I could do whatever I want to do. I'm the artist, but do I really want to do that? I changed Doom's little. I didn't like his shirt or blouse or whatever the fuck you want to call it, the thing that is underneath his belt. It never looked good to me. It just looked like he was wearing like a dress, and it was like unnecessary. But I changed it to something more complicated, just because when I was sketching it, it looked cool. But then when I was adding highlights to the coloring and stuff, I realized how much more of a pain it was to color. And then I started thinking, like, if you're doing a comic book and you got to draw this character like 40, 50 times, yeah, because I always be like, why won't people make like these outfits like ridiculously crazy? You gotta fucking color these damn things, or you gotta draw them like a bunch of times. And a lot of times, people that are like just like doing fan art and shit, we don't really think about that kind of stuff. At least I didn't. I used to just be like, whatever. Now I think about that shit a lot. So what I would do is I'm gonna line this out, but I'm not gonna do the other lines. Like how I did the line around this spider, I'm gonna leave that normal, because if I color it, I can just add the color in between here. It'll make it easier than me trying to make another set of lines, which will just make it more complicated. This way I can just kind of like bring it out. I also need to figure out what the hell I'm gonna do with these webs, because I do spaghetti webs like Todd McFarlane. Yeah, I should probably not be drawing on that layer. It's definitely not. Yeah, this doesn't have to look good. I'll trim it up and everything afterwards. It looks like shit. I don't. I mean, it really does look like the fucking symbol, but I've always hated that little. It doesn't look like a spider to me. Looks kind of like a roach. But that is this Spider-Man symbol. I guess that's why I always like the bigger. Um, I always like the bigger ones like these, because it seems like how that would look a lot better all over his body than that little whatever. But that is the original Spider-Man symbol, or like the more common Spider-Man symbol. That teeny tiny, whatever you want to call it. And then there's a third one. It's bigger, but it's Black Suit Spider-Man. you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm just BSing. This is my sketch of the week. If you haven't already, we have a Discord, ! Discord in the chat. In that Discord, we have a room called Sketch Requests, where you can request things you would like to see sketched. Most of the stuff that I draw on stream is sketch requests or tattoo stuff, but 90% of it is like stuff that people have asked me to draw that I haven't gotten around to, or something like that. I will get to all of the sketches. Just depends on what I want to do when I sit down to sketch. I really wanted to do like a Spider-Man and Venom piece, but I don't know. When I started drawing this guy, it wasn't action-y enough for me. So I was like, I can either draw Venom or I can draw more Spider-Man. And sadly to say, the Spider-Man seemed a lot easier to do, so I went with the easier choice because I was like, I don't want to do like I did with Doom and spend all week touching it up and adding stuff to it and figuring out what I want to draw with it or whatever. I'm going to probably end up doing that anyways. But all of this is so I can practice for the project that I'm working on. I'm working on a secret Patreon project, and all these hands are a part of that. But I always got to put like the stuff that I practice into and the stuff that I'm working on into practice. And it's always good to like draw something and then try out what I've been practicing to see how it works. This is the last thing that I did. This was last week's sketch that I turned into like a print poster or whatever. But like I'm not really a big fan art person, but I know people that like fan art, so I draw what the people like or whatever. I'm not really big on fan art though. This was like the very first rendition of this way back when I learned how to do digital coloring, and it's nice to see how far I've come. A distant lack of Popeye hands. Why? You know what? Funny you would say that, Beard, because I used to do that a lot. That's something that I noticed is that I wouldn't draw Popeye hands, I would draw Hulk hands. All of my hands, no matter who they were on, were always like that. If you notice, these hands, the hands are slightly bigger than the wrists. Where before, I would make the wrists and the hands the same size, and I never understood why they looked so funny. I have been working so hard to try to train myself to not do that with hands. To make sure that the wrists are smaller than the hand. This is what I would do all the time. And I would make them the same size, and I'd be like, why do they look so funny? Like this would be more like a Popeye hand. Even though this is like what I would do if I were drawing a fat person's hand, but I would do this with everybody. Skinny people, all that. I just thought I didn't pay attention to the fact that the hand is bigger than the wrist. And it would always look off, and I'm like, why? I could never figure out why. I was just talking about that the other day, how like it feels good when I look at old work and I hate it, because I used to look at my old work and think I'm never gonna be as good as these things that I did. And they weren't that good. They were actually, when I actually started getting better, I started seeing the flaws in the shit that I did, that I was ignoring simply because I didn't want to, like, like I was like, this is how I want to draw. But it wasn't. It just, I wasn't ready to let go. I couldn't see myself getting better. And the reason why I couldn't see myself getting better, because getting better means you typically do more work. And I was like, I don't do no more work. I just want to enjoy. I want to do cool shit and enjoy the aftermath. All right, we got to do this one up here. I didn't want to do more work, which is definitely what you don't want to be like when you're drawing anything. If you gotta put in the work, put in the damn work. Like, a lot of motherfuckers just, they skip out on a lot. Like, and I'm guilty of this, where you skip out on a lot of opportunities to do a lot of cool shit, to do easier shit, because you just want the satisfaction of being able to post something and get likes and get people's attention and remind people, hey, I do art. But then you look back at it later and you're like, I should have done this, or I could have done that. I will say this, though. It's not until you get a shit ton of drawings or you've done a shit ton of work that you actually start giving a damn about that. Because when you're first starting out, normally what you do is you just want to get a bunch of art on the internet or wherever you post your stuff. All you care about is a bunch of work out there in the world. Then once you get a bunch of work out there in the world and you start looking at your body of work, then you start being like, I imposter, or I suck, or I could have done better. That's when you want to go back and like reevaluate. But now you're like, okay, now I got to go out. Now I got to go out of my way to put out a whole bunch of work that is actually good. So now you're still trying to get a bunch of work out there, even though you did a bunch of work. But the bunch of work that you did, you don't like. So now your biggest fear is making a whole bunch of more work that you don't like. So it ends up keeping you from making any work. Or you go out and buy expensive tools thinking the expensive tools are going to make you better. I wonder how long it takes the average person, because I know how long it took me to realize that tools were tools, and that the tools were what the thing that I learned is that buying an expensive sketchbook is doing nothing but keeping me from doing good work. And why I thought this was because when I bought the expensive book, I didn't want to sketch in it, because I didn't want to ruin the paper by doing a bad sketch when it's literally a sketchbook. It's designed for you to sketch, which means it's designed for you to practice and do shitty sketches and all that stuff. Yeah, I did used to say that and I thought, and the funny thing is I stopped saying that because even though everybody that knew me knew I was joking, there were people that didn't know I was joking. And believe it or not, as dumb as it would sound, there are people that would buy the Graph Gear 1000 because they thought that it made it easier for you to draw. Because I would say that, oh, this pencil will make you a better artist, and no, it won't. If you're shitty when you buy it, you'll be shitty forever. Like, it's like you got to get the art, the pen. But I used to say that and never really thinking about the consequences behind it, because of course, who does that? Who thinks about the consequences? But until a lot of people started buying the pencil and asking questions about the kind of lead I use and all that, and it's stuff that made me start realizing that these people really think that this pencil is going to make them a better artist. I do say this, though. I will say this. As an artist, you have to learn to love your tools like you love your children. I will say that, because some people don't care about their tools and they just keep buying new shit that doesn't really do anything. What I mean by buying new shit is like you'll pick up a new pencil, and then that pencil doesn't make you do better, so you go buy another pencil, and it's like there's pencil's a pencil. You know what I mean? Like but you do get familiar with the way your pencil feels in your hand. That is a thing, you know. A lot of artists that have like favorite pencils and stuff, depending on how they hold their pencil, they'll get a callus, like a little bump on their finger where they draw, because they hold that pencil a certain way, and it starts digging into their skin. You don't even notice it because it doesn't hurt. You just notice one day that you have a lump on one of your fingers. You're like, where the fuck did that come from? Because you use that same tool so often that it leaves its mark. But yeah, don't jokingly tell people that tools will make them better, because people will believe it. I will say that digital makes drawing less expensive. The initial cost is high because you got to buy your tablet and all that, but understand that once you have the tablet, you have at your disposal everything that you would pay for in every week or every month or however often you went to the store at the palm of your hand. I don't ever have to worry about running out of lead anymore because digital, you know what I mean? Like, and I finally found a brush that writes like my pencil. And I didn't even know that was a thing until I started doing digital drawing, because I was like, I'm just going to color digital because traditional. I mean, you know how it goes. Yeah, if you draw a lot, that's how you know you draw a lot. You have that middle finger callus. It's not a bad thing. It's definitely a mark of a solid, well-rounded artist, like a person that puts in work. And that if you have that tool that you use all the time, that tool will leave its mark. I don't even know why I'm drawing all of this, because it's going to be behind. Yep. Stupid. I used to do that when I first started. I used to brush off the eraser shavings after I erase. But I also used to go and do traditional stuff and try to resize it with my hands. It still happens that way. Traditional feels so funny to me now when I try to do it. Like, because of course every now and again you go and you try to do something traditional after you do digital for so long, and it just feels foreign, even though I did traditional like my whole life. Now it just feels off. The new Humble Bundle for Clip Studio is now 12-month subscriptions only. Really? I know they were going subscription-based, but damn. 12 months. You know what? I'm too invested in Clip Studio. I would probably pay for that subscription. I am way too invested in Clip Studio. Photoshop, I was like, yeah, I'm not paying for that. I'm just going to use CS6. But yeah, I'm too invested in Clip Studio. I wish they would do more with the book feature. Or I wish someone would make a standalone feature where you can turn your PDFs into books. For people to like read books in PDF form and open and close them like a book. Sounds like you just don't moisturize. Yeah, it sounds like somebody that doesn't do art. You know what the funny thing was? I used to only think it was me, like most people, until my favorite artist showed a picture of his little bump, and I was like, oh shit, this is a thing. But once I started doing digital, I don't have the bump anymore, because I don't press as hard. I don't have to press as hard when I do digital. My hand is like literally floating on the page. And you can tell by the way I sketch how freely my hand moves. My hands never move like that when I did traditional because I was trying to control my pencil more as to not make mistakes. In digital, I don't give a shit if I make mistakes because I can just go back. Traditional, it's like you gotta erase. So because you have to erase, let's just not make that mistake. Let's just not do that, you know. That's pretty much how you think. It's like, yeah, I can erase it, but let's just not have to erase. Because erasing can leave a mark. So you tend to strain more or trying to control your hand movement. Which is why a lot of people get like carpal tunnel and shit like that. Or they injure their wrists. When you're doing digital, you can zoom in like I'm doing now, and I can do wider strokes. Traditional, you ain't zooming in. What you draw, like, so if you draw really small, what ends up happening is you end up having to squint, which fucks with your eyes. You end up like having to like get a smaller piece of lead or whatever so that you can, you know, draw smaller. You end up, if you don't know how to control your hands very well, you end up smearing your shit. You know, a lot of things that kind of piss you off when you're drawing. You know, that the other thing is like if you draw, like say I'm drawing this, right? And then I'm like, I'm going to color it. Well, now I got to make 8 million copies of it because I can't, unless I'm just that good and I just know what colors I'm going to use and I know what color blends are going to work, I'm going to make some mistakes. And I do not want to make mistakes on the original because, yeah, fuck that. Like, you just don't want to do that. Because, yeah, making mistakes on the original is, yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. But, you know. All right, so once I get the gist of this down, I got to go back and erase. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw it in. Well, I mean, I pretty much drew it in. I'm going to erase everything that's underneath those, and then I'm going to flatten them together. So that's one image, and then I can actually just start, you know. I did it this way because it's easier for me to draw a sketch off to the side, and then it's easier for me to draw a sketch off to the side and then move them into position than draw them in position. When you're traditional, you have to draw them in position. So what would happen is I would draw them and the proportions wouldn't be right. I readjusted the proportions on these a lot before I got them to where I wanted them, which is common if you're, you know, drawing and you don't really pay attention. Like if you're zoomed in, it's one of them things that happens when if you're zoomed in, you typically aren't paying attention to proportions. You zoom out and the head is big, or this arm over here is too long and this one is too short, and you're not really paying attention to all that. When you definitely should be, but you don't. The other thing is like the Spider-Man mask. It took me to watch Todd McFarlane draw Spider-Man for me to understand how his mask works. Because I used to always be like, that shit is weird. Like it's weird how like the wing on his suit goes. And it's also weird how a lot of people don't really pay attention to how his webbing contours to his muscles. And it kind of goes with the flow of the costume. It helps you. It helps give him form. But you learn this when you learn how to do 3D. Like when you're learning the way 3D works, you use like vector or not vector, vortex style sketching, where it's like the little circles and stuff, or the little loops that I'm doing, you would break down all your shapes into like that 3D vortex looking stuff. Yeah, that's a better way of saying it. His costume is basically a wireframe. But when you see people drawing Spider-Man that don't know how to draw him, they don't ever get the wireframing right. Not that it matters, because a lot of people typically don't pay that much attention. The only people that really pay that close attention is artists. Artists are really the only people that pay really close attention to how things look. The average person, unless they're a super fan or whatever, don't really care, doesn't really pay attention to how it's drawn. As long as they can look at it and be like, that's Spider-Man, it's good enough for them. What does the new Clip Studios features consist of? Beard. The other thing that you find important while drawing Spider-Man is the shading of the muscles are more important than the design of the suit. You don't even have to really give a shit about the design of the suit if you do the muscle shadings right. But the design of the suit is whatever. It's so iconic, like you don't really have to do it 100%, and people will know, oh, it's Spider-Man. But if you the way you do the muscle contours and shading will make all the difference in your Spider-Man. Always, whenever you draw any kind of a superhero or anybody in a hero pose, make sure you enclose like the pose, like go over the outside with thicker lines like this. Doesn't have to be all over the place, but just to kind of, it gives everything on the outside kind of a round look, but it closes the movement, so that when you put them next to another person, it's easier for you to add thicker lines later on. Or if you need to add like webbing or whatever you need to do in the image, makes it easier for you to separate the person's body from whatever it is that you're working on. The last thing that you do when you draw is to go in and like add I don't know if embolden is a word, but bold, make the things that you want to pop out bold. So now I can go back and, all right, this is all inside of this guy. I can erase all that. Because I'm going to flatten the image. And when I flatten the image, I'm not going to flatten it, but I'm going to join the line layers, because my line layer is always going to be just one layer. And I have everybody in the positions that I want them to be in, so, you know, I don't necessarily have to put that much detail in the back part, the back character, but I will. See, I'm looking for more like, I guess nothing that they do now is going to be helpful for me because I'm doing the same shit I normally do. So unless it's something to like that unless it's something that helps and changes like the bookmaking, they're never gonna add anything new that is gonna. I think that was probably like the coolest thing that I found outside of like the program itself. You know what I mean? That bookmaking feature fucked me up when I first seen it because I was like, there's no way I can make a whole book in this program from scratch. And it's just a part of the program. And then they doubled up with being able to see it finished. You know what I want? And you'll probably know this. Have they extended the time in which you can do time lapses? Because the limit is a minute. Have they made it longer? Right now, your limit is 60 seconds. And of course, you can lower it down to like, 30 seconds, 15 seconds. But I want to be able to change the time to whatever I want it to be. Or real time. They also give you real time. So if you do like time lapse, it'll give you 60 seconds, 30 seconds, or actual real time, which is just basically like how many strokes you did. Yeah, see, I want them to make more like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or whatever. But I figured they didn't do that. It would have been nice, though. It would have been nice. Yeah, I'm looking for. What I'm looking for right now is the other, a mock-up of the other symbol for the chest. It looks similar to this one, but it's just a spider. Or I could just do black suit Spider-Man, but like even that's still the same. Well, shit. I forgot that the foot went into this one. You know what I actually stopped doing that I'm kind of proud of myself about? Is I've stopped saving poses. What I mean by that is I would draw something and I would draw it so good that I would like cut it out of the image that I was drawing and put it on a separate page to save the pose so I could reference it later. And now I don't really see myself doing that because I can draw whatever. I'm not afraid that I won't be able to replicate something. But this is why you want to differentiate with the line weight. When I was telling you guys before about adding the thicker lines, it's because when you do the shading and stuff like this, it tends to mash the images together. So the thicker line weight will separate what's in the background from what's in the front, which seems rather obvious until you forget to do it, and then you shade like this, and then all of a sudden his butt cheek is now part of this dude's shoulder, and then like from far away it just looks awkward. But if you have like the right line weight or whatever, it differentiates, it separates it. You're surprised I'm drawing Spider-Man instead of Deadpool Wolverine. There's a reason for that. Because I already drew it. I drew Deadpool and Wolverine back when they first announced the trailer for Deadpool Wolverine. Because people wanted to see Deadpool and Wolverine. And of course I did Doom because people asked to see Doom. Trust me, I get asked to draw a lot of fan art. The idea or the task is to make the fan art so good that I never have to draw it again unless I want to. And a lot of the stuff I thought I did that was really good, I find myself redoing it because it's not as good as I thought it was. Which is a good thing. Because if I don't think it's as good as I thought it was, that means I've improved and I could do better. But yeah, I get asked to draw a lot of fan art, which is why I did the Friends Don't Make Friends Draw Waifus, because that was my way of trying to get out of drawing women, which relatively worked. No one really asked me to draw women anymore, like waifus. But my general idea is to create things to help people draw what I draw. And if they can draw what I draw, they won't ask me to draw it. It can't be fixed, because if anybody asks me to draw waifus, I can literally just point them to the book. And if they're like, I don't want to buy the book, well, then you don't really want to draw waifus, because friends don't make friends draw waifus.
Oh, you guys made me eat.
Oh, snap. Thank you for the 10 months. Welcome back, Anthony. You got tired of those ads, huh? Guys, I apologize for the ads, but what can you do? It's Twitch. We live in the ad apocalypse. The other thing that I hate about drawing characters like Spider-Man and stuff like that is then you always find a better pose later. no matter what. You'll get done and you'll be like, oh, I should have done that. Especially characters like Wolverine or something like that. Is for some reason, there's always a better pose. It's just the worst. What celebrity do I think I tattoo the most on people? I am not that kind of tattoo artist. What I mean when I say I'm not that kind of tattoo artist is what people think tattoo artists are. We are not that. So because Pinterest puts all these tattoos up of people tattooing celebrity faces and stuff like that, most tattoo artists that want to be, I don't know, I guess you could say like seen as like more of an artist, they don't do portraits and shit like that all the time. And when they do them, they don't parade them around. I hate doing portraits because I don't like realism. Can I do portraits? Yeah, but I really, really, really hate it. So typically I don't advertise that I do portraits, so I don't get asked. And I would definitely not do like celebrity faces and shit like that. More than likely, if I was to do a portrait, it would probably be like a family member, not my family member, but whoever, a family member or a regular person. I've never done the celebrities or monsters or stuff like that. I try to create original concepts based on existing ideas, if that makes sense. That I don't do the ink master style of tattooing, which isn't bad. It's just not me. That does not look like it would work. If someone said they wanted Massey on their cab, 9 times out of 10, they would be going to, believe it or not, they would probably, 9 times out of 10, and this is stereotypical, I know, but, oh, snap, thanks for the raid. Welcome in, everybody. Hello. How you doing, Crete? I don't really want to butcher your name, so I'm going to call you Crete. But thank you for, thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. Thank you for bringing all your people in here. I'm just drawing Spider-Man, and I'm answering questions about tattooing. But welcome in, you guys. I'm iinnk. I am just drawing fan art that I was asked to draw and hanging out. I appreciate you guys coming here, and I understand that your streamer might have been doing something that is way more funner or more entertaining than what I am doing, and if you have to go, I would not be mad. But if you do stay, I do appreciate you hit that follow button. Oh, I like Cree. Let's call you Cree. Well, in any case, thank you for bringing your people here. You know, I appreciate the fact that you trust me enough to handle your people. How did your stream go? What were you doing, if you don't mind sharing? I was basically telling one of my viewers that, well, the misconception with most people is that tattoo artists, because I'm a tattoo artist, do what you see on Ink Master. But if someone asked me to, if someone came and wanted a messy tattoo, like the soccer player, football, they wouldn't be coming to me. Because tattooing is inherently very, very, very stereotypical. It just goes that way. No one's going to ask me to give them a messy tattoo. I would probably get asked to tattoo Snoop Dogg. You know why. That's just how it works. I was doing oh, snap. You were drawing emotes? Like making your own emotes? Oh, my God. I don't remember the last time I did emotes for my channel. I used to, oh my God, I loved making my own emotes. But now I feel like people just aren't really that concerned about emotes unless they're animated. And I hate animation because I am lazy. Yeah, I definitely haven't done emotes in a long time. I like drawing emotes, believe it or not. Like it's one of the few things that on stream that I am actually like, yeah, I love drawing emotes. Emotes are fun. I enjoyed every minute of making my emotes, but then it was like I would do these emotes and then they would like not get used, and I would just be like, I'm bummed out. So I stopped drawing emotes until I get something that I know is um like something catchy in my channel or whatever. Then I'll go back and I'll make an emote for it. But typically, I haven't made an emote in a while, and now I want everything to be animated. So either I'm going to learn animation or I'm just not going to really be interested in making my emotes. Kind of blows, guys. Yeah, most people will not make emotes nowadays unless they're animated, and I agree. Animated emotes are just where it's at. Or you have to make really cool like multi framed emotes. That's like where or emotes that work with other emotes. Whereas you don't make like an emote of yourself. You make like a megaphone or something like that can compound with another emote. Oh shoot, you have been following me since 2016. Well, I'm glad you're still around and you remember me. Were you streaming when you first started following me? Because I don't remember. And if you stream in the creative channel, I definitely don't remember. I was just like thinking about like TwitchCon because it's coming or whatever. I forgot that because I'm a partner, I get a complimentary ticket. Because a friend of mine was asking me if I was going to go, and I was like, nah, because I was supposed to send them money to like go or whatever. But like, then I got a notice that says I get a complimentary ticket, which is cool because I didn't think Twitch did stuff like that anymore. But I mean, you would think like I've been with Twitch for almost going on my 11th year. Yeah, because I usually if it's somebody in the creative section and they follow my channel, like now that I know you stream, I definitely got to return the favor. You know, I gotta send my community to your community. It's, you know, we gotta support each other. Usually that's like I gotta keep track of these things. Fun fact, Todd McFarlane almost lost his job over the spaghetti webbing. The webbing that you see me doing right now that looks like noodles. Because they didn't want him to do it, but he was like, I want to draw something that's cool. And he was like, I would rather lose my job than to not draw cool shit. And he fought to draw the spaghetti webbing that is now the standard for drawing Spider-Man. Well, welcome in, J. Cool. Glad to see you came over from the raid. All of you guys, those of you guys that stayed, I appreciate it. So we're working on Spider-Man. I am typically not the fan art type, but we have a community of people that are in my Discord that request things, and I have made it a purpose to draw whatever people request outside of waifus, because we have done away with waifus. We made a book. I don't know if you were around when I made the book, Cree, but We made a community book because everybody would ask me to draw waifus all the time, and I was not a waifu drawing person. But I am a firm believer that if they watch you, you should. A lot of people that watch art streamers want to see the streamers draw stuff, and the best way to get them to not draw, the best way to get them to not ask you is to just draw it. So I decided to make a book. It went both good and bad. It went good as in I made a book, but it was like it didn't stop people from really asking me for waifus. But because I made the book, I could be like, I could say no and not feel bad, because I'm like, here's a book that will show you how I draw waifus. So that I don't mind drawing women. Let's get this right. Drawing women is okay for me, but drawing sexy women is just not something that I want to do all the time. And it became like I turned into the waifu guy, you know, in a time where Twitch is like saturated with it. And I was like, I don't want to be known as the waifu guy. I don't. But my boy, my awesome mod Beard Vorkian was hell bent on trying to get me to be the waifu guy. Yeah, I worked on it for 3 years, and I am very, very, very impressed with the outcome of it. I am very happy with what we did. It is definitely available for those of you guys that, if you sub to the channel and you go into the sub Discord, there is a free digital version for anybody that subs to the channel because it was made for my community. If you don't want to sub, but you want a copy of it, there's a link that you can get a digital copy of it. Or if you want the physical copy that looks like this, there ! book in the chat. You can buy the physical copy. But literally, it's just 200 pages of art and how I draw waifus. It just explains how I do it, what I'm thinking, my process, stuff like that. Same thing that I do on stream. I'm doing another secret project for just Patreon, because I don't really do very much for my Patreon viewers, but I'm doing something specifically for my Patreon users. That's along the same lines, but not the same. It's going to basically transition into me doing 3D modeling, which is where I'm going to end up. You know. No, Beard Vorkian became a mod because of it. It was more of like a reward, because I would have never done anything like this, and I'm very happy with the results. Because I definitely would not have done it if it wasn't for him pestering me about waifus. So it turned out to be something very good. But now I'm starting my little secret project. This is kind of some of the stuff that I'm going to use for said project. But it's strictly for my Patreon users. ! Patreon in the chat. Yeah, I want to do modeling. After doing so much drawing and tattooing, because for those of you guys that don't know, I am an actual tattoo artist. I do tattoos for a living. Even though on my stream I draw very little tattoos. I do draw tattoos on stream every now and again. I do not do tattoos because Twitch has very weird like rules for tattooing that I don't really like to, mess around with. Do I have an iPad? Yes. I do have an iPad, but I do not draw on an iPad. I draw on a Cintiq 22 HD Touch. But I draw my own tattoos. I am very animate about drawing my own tattoos and making my own stuff. Now, again, it's like I was telling people before, it's just my own spin on already existing concepts, because typically you draw what the client tells you to draw. Whatever they tell you to draw, you draw it, but you don't have to draw it in the way they say to draw it. Tattooing compared to any other kind of digital stuff is really easy. People don't understand how easy it is. But I always say if you are a digital artist, 10% of your skill transferred to tattooing would make you rich. This is a regular Asian style dragon, Omega Shinran style, placed over a female's entire back. This would be upwards of $6,000 to $8,000, maybe even more, depending on how much detail you put into it as a tattoo. Whereas a drawing, this would net you about a whopping $50 at the most. Like, it's one of those things that you don't really put into consideration when you're drawing stuff, because if you draw very complicated things, you don't really get paid that well doing digital, because so many people that are doing digital and they're really good at it, it overshadows how good or how much effort goes in. Something like this wouldn't even be looked at as a digital painting because somebody has done something way better. But in tattooing, this design is phenomenal. And if you can execute it very well on a body, well, you'll be rich. So hence working more on your art, and rather than, like, you know, how many clients you can get and your technique is important, but working more on your art than anything else will be the best move you make in tattooing, because you can create all sorts of things that people aren't normally thinking that they can get, like things like this that don't seem that significant, tattooed and colored very well, will make you. People foresee tattooing differently from art. Like, so like something like this just drawn, it's cool if you don't know how to draw, or it's cool if you've never seen something like this before. But as a tattoo, it's seen as another level, even though we don't see it that way as artists. As an artist, it's like, oh, it's a fawn chick or whatever. I think she was supposed to be a fawn. I forget what I was doing, but she's like, it's very artsy looking, sitting on the trunk of a tree with snails and wildlife all around her or whatever. But as a sleeve, because this is a tattoo sleeve design, and someone's seen this in the store or something like that, they would have to stop you. Yeah, she's a fine girl. I see the hoof, but they would have to stop you and ask who did it, stuff like, depending on how it's executed, if it's executed well and stuff like that, and that's what I like. I like taking, like, this kind of stuff is cool and everything or whatever, but it's like, this is more or less like hey, I'm drawing something that everybody knows, look at me type thing. Like, hey, I'm drawing this familiar character, look at how well I'm drawing this familiar character. But to me, it's like, I already know I can draw this character. I don't necessarily need to prove that I can draw this character. I practice every day so that if someone asks me to draw that character, I can draw that character. Same thing with these. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of people that are, oh, it's Spider-Man, and like, oh, look at how cool it's drawn. But like, it's just Spider-Man. It's nothing special. Spider-Man is literally just a mannequin. Like, it's the easiest superhero in the world to draw, because if you know how to draw humans, you can draw Spider-Man. But to someone that loves comic books, it's like, holy shoot, it's Spider-Man, like, but to an artist, it's more exciting to learn, like, how to draw something like this, than to draw it, if that makes sense. Like, it's more exciting for me to learn the process of drawing it than it is to actually sit here and like draw it. Because right now I'm just kind of like, I'm going through the motions. I know what everything's gonna look like, and I'm just kind of like just going through with it. That's pretty much what I'm doing. Is like, oh, three Spider-Men, I'm just putting their costumes on them and making them look really neat or whatever. It's not impressive to me, but it's impressive enough to someone else to make them want to be able to do it And I am here to let you know that it is very doable. It's not magic, and anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. It is definitely not magic. And the problem is that a lot of people think it's magic and they get afraid to try it because they're afraid of failure. But man, let me tell you, you will fail a lot. But when you succeed, it will feel very good. Like, and that's typically what I try to get people to understand. I am not by any means a fantastic artist. I am just very patient and bored, and I do nothing but draw. And it just shows. I've been doing this for years, and I've been drawing the same characters and the same humans and the same trees and the same candles and perfecting them for years until I got to a point where I developed my own style of drawing that people can recognize. It's pretty much what you do. And once you get so good, it looks like magic. And everybody will think you're making magic, and they will think that you're just guru of art or whatever, when it's not that. It's just you were bored, you had no friends, you sat in the house all day, and you basically followed the same path as all the artists before you, but you made it. You made it to where your art is so good that people are proud of you, and they want to pay you to do it, which is the goal. And now I'm at that point now where I do things that I never thought I could do. But the next step now is like, okay, well, now that I know I can do things that I felt like I couldn't do, what's next? 3D modeling. Because if you can do cool sketches or whatever, why can't I do cool sculptures? But now that I know that Cree does sculpting and stuff like that, I'm gonna. And ZBrush is supposed to be coming out on the iPad, or is it out already? I'm gonna buy a new iPad when ZBrush comes out for iPad, just so I can do 3D modeling on ZBrush. I bought a tablet, a drawing tablet, a XP Pen 24-inch to do 3D modeling, but then I was like, I don't have space for another computer, and the tablet that I'm using right now is fine. So my tablet is just kind of like sitting and doing nothing. I need something that is separate from my something that is separate from my drawing tablet, you know. But once it comes out, I'm going to buy an iPad. I have an iPad, but I'm going to get a new iPad. I think my iPad's like the 11th generation. 11th gen. Yeah, I think it's the 11th gen. It does. I can draw with it, but I never drew with it. I bought it to draw. I think I drew one thing, and then I was like, I'm not drawing with iPad, and I just didn't draw with the iPad. It's pretty sad. But I do watch Netflix on it. I do. I still use it. Well, that's with anything. The glass feel is why it's so hard to get used to doing digital, period. But once you get used to it, you won't be able to go back to the paper feel. The paper feeling will feel funny. Because when I draw traditionally, it feels yucky. So Nomad is Nomad more like user friendly, like if someone was to learn 3D modeling from scratch, is it like? Because I mean, I picked up pretty fast with ZBrush. ZBrush, the only thing I didn't like about it was the way you turned what you had to do to turn the models was very. seemed like it was just way too complicated for something that should be simple. But I got a space mouse, and that does make it easier. So that problem is solved. Yeah, I didn't realize how much, because when you told me about the space mouse and I bought it, I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna use this thing. This thing is like not, it's too weird until I realized what it did. And why it had so many buttons. The space mouse typically just erases having to use the keyboard. Because you can do like your hotkeys and stuff. I need to find this other costume. But I know that once I start doing 3D modeling, it's just generally going to take over everything. I'm going to be drawing way less because all I'm going to be thinking about is 3D modeling. And let me make my first like statue that I'm proud of. It's a wrap. It is over. Right. I told myself that if I did do 3D modeling, I would not do waifus. I'm going to be sculpting monsters and robots, not women. I definitely made that a thing. It's like I'm not sculpting waifus. I'm sculpting monsters and robots. Exclusively. Yeah. See, that's the thing that I was weak then. I was weak and I fell for the trap, but I am no longer weak and I don't fall for the Beardvorkianism like before. You got me off guard. I'm not falling for it. I now know that waifus did not benefit me. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. They pretty much benefit me way better than I thought they would, but we're not doing waifus. We're gonna leave all the common stuff to those that like to do the common stuff. It is so saturated that I would like to be known for something that's not saturated. For once. Drawing superheroes and drawing waifus is what every good artist does to get their foot out in the door. I want to draw something else. You're still weak. We'll see. We shall see. We shall see. I've been pretty good at not going back to drawing waifus. I still draw women. But I am now back where I used to be, where when I draw waifus, I feel like I'm wasting my time. Which is why I didn't really draw women other than like superhero women for a long time, because I always felt like, well, so many people are doing this that it's just, I'm wasting my time. And then I did the waifu book, and then that was like, all I could think of was like, everything had to have a waifu. Like if I was like, oh, an alien invasion with waifus. And I was like, oh my God, beard ruined my life. And now I've broken from the spell, and I will not be going back. You had a hold of me for a little bit, but I have broken free, and I will not be returning. I just wonder what TwitchCon is going to be like this year, seeing as though like 90% of the creator section is anime. That's kind of the reason why I was not really looking forward to going to TwitchCon this year, because it's like, first off, all the people that I grew with when I started doing creative, they aren't really streaming anymore. So there will be no people that I knew other than Two Senseless said that they were going, because I was going to go with them, but they're going to be working. Snap, did we get another raid? Oh, snap. Nerd JDQ, thank you for the art. No, sorry, Nerd JQ, thank you for the raid. And welcome in, everybody. I'm drawing Spider-Man and talking crap as usual. I'm iinnk. For those of you guys that don't know me, I'm a tattoo artist. For those of you guys that do know me, welcome back. I just get bored every now and again. I like to draw stuff. So right now I'm drawing Spider-Mans, because last week I drew Doom. So I'm just kind of like knocking out the sketch, and to get my hours in for drawing every day. If you are an artist and you're not drawing every day, what are you doing with your life? And don't give me that crap about you're too busy, because you're an artist. If you're not busy doing art, what are you doing? You ever plan on breaking the cycle of being stuck at that dead-end job and want to be known for whatever great art that you do? You have to first start putting yourself out there. Well, thanks, nerd. I appreciate it. The fact that you brought your people here and you've never been here before makes it even more special. But basically what I do around here is I try to motivate other people to draw. And a lot of times the best way to get people to draw is to show them that what you do isn't that special. And that's pretty much what I do. Because what I do isn't that special. And I try to get people to understand that the more you do it, the better you get at it. And of course, it's the same thing that any artist will tell you. The only difference is if you've been here long enough, you've actually seen how bad I used to be and how far I've come. Things like this are just so that I can practice things that or so that I can put in practice things that I've already been practicing. So I was practicing drawing hands some of those hands happen to be like famous Spider-Man posed hands, and I'm like, I've drawn Spider-Man several times, and the hands have been kind of like harsh. Let me draw Spider-Man better than I did last time and do the hands. So a lot of these are just drawings so I can perfect and work on my hand drawings and other parts of the body to see if I've improved. And it's also good to share art with people. Well, if you ever sub to the channel, you can get a free digital version of it in the sub Discord. In case you don't want to pay the cost of the physical book, you can check the digital book out. Save yourself a bit of money. If you like it, then you can purchase the other one. It's just more so, it's like 200 pages of me explaining how or why I draw things the way that I do. As far as women are concerned, but I'm also working on a secret Patreon project. For those of you guys that are interested in that, you can join my Patreon. I want to start promoting my Patreon a lot, like doing really cool things for just my patron. And one of those things would happen to be like something along the lines of the waifu book, but exclusively for Patreon, but not waifus. Definitely not waifus. But if you have any questions about art or tattooing, feel free to ask. We drew Dr. Doom last week, and a friend of mine helped me color it. So he wanted to color it. So I sent him the sketch. I have the sketch in here somewhere. So I sent him the sketch. And he colored. He did his color, and then he sent it back to me, and then I went over his color with highlights. So this was his color, and I was like, I like the way he did it, but it was kind of dark because I'm used to liquid. Chris Leitner, I like the way he colors stuff. So I just took his drawing and I added highlights to it, or his color, and I just added highlights to it and added effects, so it'll look a lot brighter and more, you know what I mean? Like you could print this as a poster and it would come out really good, versus this would be very muted and dark, and it will be hard to like make out as a print. But you know, but a lot of the techniques that I use when I color are like from liquid. Yep, he did most of Joe Mad stuff. Joe Madureira is my favorite artist in the whole wide world. You can see a lot of his influence in my work. Obviously, not this. This was when I first started doing digital coloring. This is before I even started doing digital drawing, which is why the background has actual sketches. Those are actual sketches from paper. So what I would do is I would draw the image, and then I would draw sketches of the face, and then I would Photoshop them in the background, and then I used this cheap generic gray background so you couldn't see how I cut them out and put them in the background because I didn't know how to make everything look neat. And then color, I would color over the lines. I hated the thick black lines or grayish lines or whatever. I hated inking my stuff because inking my stuff makes my stuff look flat, and then you got to bring it back to life with the color. And I was like, it's just too much work to color. But people wanted me to color, so I did whatever. Now I have my technique down. I know what I want my stuff to look like. I don't color. I don't ink any of my work. Like, I color, but I do not ink any of my work ever. I do straight sketches to paint. If you zoom in enough, you can see the sketches. But normally, when I color my stuff, I turn my sketch layer into a multiply layer, so you don't see it like that. You see how it's you can still see that it's magenta. That's because my buddy colored it, and he doesn't change his sketch layer to multiply, or his sketch layer to multiply. So it shows up. If you change it to multiply, the multiply layer would make this blend with the background better. But it worked. It still turned out good. I still like it. But I definitely do not like this is what I will color underneath if I color this. I'm gonna color right underneath it. The color will overtake whatever lines I don't want to show up. And if need be, I can go over the top of it with like thicker black lines to accent stuff. Like, I don't have to ever worry about coloring or ever worry about inking anything that I do and being frustrated with the fact that I gotta ink it, which is like a huge pain in my ass. You have no idea how much I hated inking my stuff, especially if I drew like a really cool drawing like this, and then somebody would be like, you should color it, and I'm like, that means I gotta ink it in, and like it would just be bad. I just didn't want to do it. Now I know that. What the funny thing was, I was looking at Chris Leitner's drawing. He was I was looking at his ink job that he did for Sabretooth, and that was when I noticed, holy shit, this entire time I've been looking at this guy like do I was like, I've been looking at this guy do the coloring for Joe Mad stuff, and I never actually paid attention to the fact that his work, like, he would just color right over his pencils, and it looked so cool. And I was like, that I want to do. I'm gonna color right over my pencils. And I'm like, I can't believe that I've been a digital artist this long and didn't realize that I could just turn my pencil layer into a multiply layer or whatever, and just pencil right underneath it, or ink right underneath it, color right underneath it. And that's pretty much how I decided that I was never going to ink again. All right, Beard. Well, I'm almost done messing around here for the night. I try to keep my streams relatively short. I should be on tomorrow, but I'll probably be done messing around with this and drawing something else. If you guys have something you would like to see me draw, feel free to join the Discord, !Discord in the chat. And we have a room where you can request things to be sketched. Just understand that it is not a commitment, and you can only request it. I draw what I want, and I draw it when I want. But you are welcome to request whatever you want me to sketch. I know people like to try to dare the artist to draw weird shit, but we do have a rule that if you request me to draw something weird, I'm tagging you in it to let everybody know that you were the person that wanted that weird shit, so that they don't think I'm just walking around drawing animal penises and shit, because people will ask you to draw that. Trust me, people try to get you to draw all kinds of stuff so they can make you seem like you're a weirdo. But I'm gonna tag you in it so that everybody knows that you're the weirdo. But I will draw it. The only things that I'm kind of slow on drawing is anime stuff, because I don't really feel like my style lends itself very well to anime. Anime is one of those It's one of them things that either you do it really well or you don't. And I feel like the action and stuff is great because I love anime action. But as far as the characters, I can't get to a comfortable spot in mine to where I actually love it. I'm still on the fence on whether or not I want to put. I want webbing coming out of his hand, but I don't know how I want it to come out of his hand. What? I was going to make a test sheet of what? Animal genitalia? Everyone suggests waifus or gender bent stuff. People can suggest what they want. That's the beautiful thing, is you can suggest it, but I get to draw it however I want and when I want. But the thing is like me drawing stuff like that really wouldn't matter, because I just wouldn't draw it on stream. Then no one would know it existed. All right, nerd. Well, thanks for stopping in, and thank you for bringing your people over here. Yeah, get up and stretch your legs. I remember I had this one guy that wanted me to draw his OC, right? And I'm like, okay. And I drew it. And then he was like, well, can you change this? And can you? I was like, no, that's not how it works. It was like, you can request me to draw it, and I will draw it the way that I want to draw it. And that's it. Like, you don't get any changes. It's just, this is what I drew. Here you go. He wasn't really too happy because he thought he was getting a commission, and I was like, it's not a commission. It's, hey, I will draw your whatever. And I go from there. Oh, people ask for a lot of stuff. Remember the guy that wanted the animal genitalia? And I drew it, and people still don't know that it's just floating around somewhere out there. But it's out there. He wanted me to draw dog and horse and some other shit. And I'm like, well, I could draw though. And I use it as a reason to draw horses and dogs or whatever, because I don't really draw them that often. Most of them ask you to draw like something waifu style, but naked. You know, it's always or some lewd act. It's always something like that, because that's, you know, horny people do that. And then it's always like a lot of the times to them it's like they feel like it's going to be the shock value for the artist. Like I'm going to tell the artist to do this, and they're going to freak out, you know, because they want to see the artist get bothered by having to draw shit. Where I'm like, don't bother me. Just when your mom finds out that years later when you run for senator that you ask for somebody to draw animal penises and it resurfaces, remember, you asked for it. But the internet always remembers. Remember that. I don't want to put too much complication on these webs because the webbing will just ruin the entire drawing. Yeah. Beard, I think you enjoy modding. I don't think you require payment. uh, that's funny. All right, I'm gonna probably end up having to put a background on this because, yeah, like in hindsight, I feel like the sketch is great, but it is plain. And I also want to kind of to the background. Yeah, my weakness is backgrounds too. More specifically, buildings. I can draw them, but I don't want to spend the time to do them, but I won't spend the time to do them unless I'm going to do them very well. Which is the problem, because 90% of the time, if I'm doing something, I'm not going to do it unless if I'm gonna put in the effort, it needs to be maximum effort. You know what I mean? And buildings are fucking shitty to draw if you don't do them right. Now there's definitely ways to speed paint it or whatever, but unfortunately, or there's other backgrounds you can put, but unfortunately for Spider-Man shooting webs, it's almost a given that he's in New York swinging from tall buildings. So, yeah, you're almost definitely going to be doing like some kind of city skyline. If you're going to put a background, or you can do the cheesy generic background where it's just, I'm going to go with like debris and then like explosive debris and them jumping out of a window or something like that, or jumping away from a building and they're all swinging away. But I'm going to have to do like some kind of a building in the background. So I'll probably do one slanted building in the background with a lot of detail and then like debris. It's probably what I'm going to go for. See, like I don't mind doing the debris and stuff. Debris makes an image. Like debris pushes an image forward faster than anything. Like when I draw debris on a person, like this character without debris looks so much plainer. Which one is it? Is it this? It just looks so plain. But when you put the debris, it gives it so much more. It makes the evil pop so much more. Like little things like that in a drawing. Now look at the background of that. It is the most plain. It's like it's cool, but it's definitely like a, I don't really want to draw a background. You know what I mean? You definitely want to kind of, it helps it pop. Plus at the level, once you get to a certain level, you definitely can't phone it in. And typically when you don't want to put a background like a city building or something, when you know you can't get away from it and you're still trying to get away from it, it shows your laziness as an artist. And I try to hide my laziness every now and again. I don't want it to be so apparent. Like me trying to figure out whether or not I'm going to put webbing shooting from his wrist, but I don't know which direction I want the webbing to go. And I'm like, a part of me wants it to not cover anything, but another part of me is like, it's gonna cover stuff. But a part of me doesn't want it to cover anything. Which you can't be like that. Like shit's gonna be covered. It's the way that it goes. The other thing you want to do when you're drawing like the spaghetti webbing is don't put them so tight like I did right here. I have to loosen this up because it's too tight and it makes the webbing look boring. You want it to be webbing, but you want the web to have like layers. You should draw the webbing in action first, and then once you get the action pose the way you want it, then you add the spaghetti to it to make it feel more. So like I know I don't want this to go in front of him, so it's gonna probably go behind him, but now that I have that, I can put like my webbing wherever, my spaghetti wherever I want it to go. Doesn't have to be neat because no one's really gonna be checking for it. I always had a problem with like like ropes and stuff like that, like getting it to feel like it's moving, actiony, I guess. Well, I think I'm done messing around with this for today. I will be on tomorrow, but I will probably be done with this. I'll probably give it in the morning and screw with it a little bit more and do the building in the background, all that, whatever. It'll end up on my Patreon or in the subsection of my Discord or whatnot. And I'm just going to move on to whatever's next after that. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys watching while I practice. And yeah, if it's your first time here and you like what you see, make sure you hit that follow button. Follow all my socials, !social in the chat to see all things art related. I want to try that new mech game. So I might try that soon. That mech break or whatever looks cool. I haven't actually played it, so I don't know how the robots feel or whatever, but it's like 6v6. But yeah, I think we'll end it right there. Appreciate you guys coming out. See you guys tomorrow if you're around. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, life is a canvas. All you need is ink. See you guys tomorrow.